Kyoto, June 21st, 1582. Flames lick the night sky. Inside Honno-ji Temple, Oda Nobunaga, Japan's most feared warlord, realizes too late that his trusted general Akechi Mitsuhide has turned against him. But here's the shocking truth. This wasn't chance. It was the result of a catastrophic decision years in the making. And Nobunaga wasn't the only samurai undone by choices like this. Tonight, we uncover the decisions that destroyed clans, ended dynasties, and rewrote Japan's history. From cavalry charges into gunfire, to betrayals within families, to faith that became a death sentence. These aren't the heroic tales you know. They're the fatal mistakes where honor, pride, and hesitation became weapons of ruin. Welcome to Japan Rewind. Stay with me, because later I'll reveal the call that doomed the mighty Takeda clan, and why military strategists still study it today. The Honno-ji betrayal, Oda Nobunaga's fatal, read-on character, the ambush that shocked the realm. Nobunaga lodged lightly at Honno-ji Temple in Kyoto. His most dangerous subordinate, Akechi Mitsuhide, commanded a full army close by. Nobunaga's rise had depended on elevating talent, regardless of birth. He rewarded more than lineage, breaking centuries of hierarchy. That was his genius and his vulnerability. It brought ambitious, sometimes embittered men very near the heart of his power. Mitsuhide was one of them. A tactician of ability, but from a minor background. He rose quickly under Nobunaga's patronage. Yet chronicles like the Shinchiu Kuki suggest Nobunaga sometimes mocked him, stripping fiefs and handing them to rivals. Stories tell of a war fan striking Mitsuhide at a banquet, of public insults. Whether embroidered or not, humiliation festered. The decisive error, however, wasn't one slap or one insult. It was strategic complacency. Nobunaga chose to remain in Kyoto with only a small guard, while Mitsuhide held thousands of troops nearby. At dawn on June 21st, 1582, Mitsuhide struck. The alarm bells clanged, flames engulfed Honno-ji, and Nobunaga's retainers fought desperately. Surrounded and with no escape, Nobunaga performed his final act. He committed seppuku as fire devoured the temple. His empire, an empire that might have unified Japan decades before anyone else, died with him. Nobunaga's fatal decision wasn't simply cruelty to Mitsuhide. It was trusting proximity without protection. One misread of character plus one night of carelessness toppled the strongest warlord of the age. Nagashino. When honor charged into gunfire. June 28, 1575. The Takeda clan, lords of Kai, feared cavalry masters, rode to face the combined armies of Oda Nobunaga and Tokugawa Ieyasu near Nagashino Castle. The battlefield stretched across the Shitaragahara plain. Nobunaga's men erected rows of wooden palisades, and behind them, 3,000, or perhaps more, Ashigaru gunners stood ready with matchlocks. Takeda Katsuyori, son of the late Takeda Shingen, inherited both power and pressure. His generals, men like Baba Nobuharu and Yamagata Masakage, urged caution. They understood that firearms had changed the rhythm of battle. Katsuyori faced an impossible dilemma. Retreat risked his clan's honor and allies' loyalty. Attack promised disaster but carried the chance of glory. At dawn, he chose honor. Takeda cavalry thundered forward in wave after wave. Hooves pounded the wet ground, banners whipped in the wind, but musket volleys crashed like rolling thunder. Horses stumbled, samurai fell, and the charge shattered against wood and smoke. Baba Nobuharu, veteran of countless campaigns, was cut down in the storm. Yamagata Masakage fell pierced by bullets. By mid-morning, Takeda's strength, built over generations, bled away in heaps before the palisades. The truth is, this wasn't simply horses versus guns. It was the weight of tradition against innovation. Choosing valor over adaptation doomed the Takeda. Within years, their great clan was reduced to ashes, their territory divided among rivals. Nagashino stands as the morning when the old style of samurai cavalry died, and it shows that sometimes the most catastrophic decision is refusing to change when the world already has. The 47 Rōnin, honor with a known price. January 30th, 1703, the 14th day of the 12th lunar month, Genroku 15. 47 masterless samurai crept through snowy Edo streets. Ahead of them stood Kira Yoshinaka's mansion. Inside, the man they blamed for their lord's ruin. 2 years earlier, their master Asano Naganori had drawn his blade inside Edo Castle and wounded Kira. For that offense, Asano was ordered to commit seppuku at once, his lands confiscated, his retainers scattered. They could have rebuilt lives as farmers, monks, or merchants. The shogunate allowed it. But Uishi Kuranosuke chose another path, to restore honor through vengeance, knowing it meant death. For 2 years they feigned idleness. Uishi himself acted the drunken fool in Kyoto to lull suspicion. Wives were divorced, households broken apart, and still the plot advanced. On that snowy night, they stormed Kira's mansion. After a furious clash, they found him hiding. His severed head was presented at Sengakuji before their master's grave. The Bakuhu faced its paradox: punish the men and appear cruel, spare them and undermine the law. The decision was a middle path. The Rōnin were ordered to commit seppuku, not executed as criminals, but not pardoned either. Their choice has echoed for centuries, not because it saved a coup domain, but because it embodied a code willing to die even when victory was impossible. The Shimabara Rebellion, Faith as a Death Sentence, 1637. On the Shimabara Peninsula and Amakusa Islands, overtaxed peasants and persecuted Christian converts rose in rebellion. The local lord Matsukura Katsuyori levied crushing taxes and enforced anti-Christian decrees with brutal methods. Villagers were tortured, some crucified when they could not pay. The breaking point arrived. Instead of submitting or fleeing, the Christians and sympathetic samurai chose armed resistance. They rallied behind a 16-year-old visionary, Amakusa Shiru, believed by followers to possess divine favor. Roughly 37,000 fortified themselves in Hara Castle. The Tokugawa Bakuhu treated this as an existential threat. They mustered over 120,000 troops, one of the largest mobilizations of the age. Dutch cannon fire joined the siege, pounding the fortress. Inside, food vanished, disease spread, but the defenders clung to faith. They could have surrendered, but to them, martyrdom was victory. By April of 1638, the walls fell. Virtually all inside, men, women, children, were killed. Only a handful survived. Amakusa Shiru's head was displayed in Nagasaki to terrify others. The choice to resist and the shogunate's choice to annihilate sealed Christianity's fate in Japan. The faith would survive only underground, in secret, for more than 2 centuries. Minamoto no Yoshistune, trusting blood over politics. A genius of the battlefield, yet undone by family politics. Minamoto no Yoshitsune led decisive victories in the Genpei War, including the great naval triumph at Danora in 1185. His brilliance made his elder brother Minamoto no Yoritomo uneasy. Yoritomo feared Yoshitsune's popularity with soldiers and his ties to the imperial court. Still, Yoshitsune obeyed summons to Kamakura, believing his service and kinship would protect him. Instead, he was denied audience and branded disloyal. Hunted, he fled north to Fujiwara no Hideharu's court. When Hideharu died, his successor Yasuhira betrayed Yoshitsune to secure his own position. In 1189, surrounded in his residence, Yoshitsune took his own life. His head was sent to Yoritomo as proof. The fatal error was trusting blood over politics. In the samurai world, family bonds meant nothing when power was at stake. Kobayakawa's choice to wait. October 21st, 1600. At Sekigahara, the greatest battle in Japan's history, Kobayakawa Hideaki held 15,000 troops on Mount Matsuo, poised to decide the day. Secretly, he had promised allegiance to Tokugawa Ieyasu, yet as the battle raged, he hesitated. Some accounts say Ieyasu even ordered his arquebusiers to fire at Kobayakawa's position to force his hand. Below, Ishida Mitsunari's western army strained against the eastern line. A timely downhill charge could have shattered Tokugawa's flank. Instead, Kobayakawa delayed until the momentum turned. Finally, he moved, attacking Utani Yoshitsugu's position, triggering collapse. Victory crowned Tokugawa. Kobayakawa was rewarded with domains, but died only 2 years later in disgrace. His true error was not betrayal, it was hesitation. In battles that shape history, minutes matter more than loyalty pledges. Kusunoki Masashige, perfect loyalty, certain defeat. During the Kenmu Restoration, Kusunoki Masashige championed guerrilla warfare, fortresses like Chihaya, and elastic defense. In 1336, facing overwhelming forces of Ashikaga Takauzi, Masashige advised Emperor Go-Daigo to retreat to Yoshino and fight on. The emperor refused, demanding a direct stand to reclaim prestige. On July 5th, Masashige obeyed. At Minatogawa, his 700 loyalists were encircled by 50,000. He composed his death poem, pledging 7 more lives of service, and then fell with his brother Masasue in ritual death. The emperor fled. The Ashikaga shogunate was born. Masashige's sacrifice achieved nothing tactically, but it became the paragon of samurai loyalty for centuries. The Huzuyu's final stand. By 1590, the Huzyu ruled from Odawara, commanding vast wealth and the mightiest castles in eastern Japan. When Toyotomi Hideyoshi demanded their submission, they refused. Arrogance convinced them their fortress was impregnable. Hideyoshi answered with spectacle. Over 200,000 troops surrounded Odawara, but instead of grim siege, he staged festivals, tea ceremonies, and slowly reduced the Huzuyu's outworks. After 3 months, the Huzyu surrendered. Uzumasa committed seppuku, and their clan was erased. Their domains passed to Tokugawa Ieyasu, paving the way for his rise. Pride, not weakness, doomed them. Shibata Katsuie, loyalty to yesterday. After Honno-ji, Shibata Katsuie, longtime general of Nobunaga, chose to back Nobutaka, the third son, against Toyotomi Hideyoshi. It seemed loyal, even logical. Birth and clan continuity over the meteoric upstart. But while winter snows trapped Shibata, Hideyoshi built alliances and struck swiftly. At Shizugatake in 1583, Hideyoshi's forces crushed Shibata's coalition. Retreating to Kitanoshiyo Castle, Shibata chose ritual death with his wife, Oichi, Nobunaga's sister. He fell not to age or skill, but to loyalty, fixed on the past, while rivals shaped the future. The Shimazu Retreat. Honor as strategy. At Sekigahara, October 21, 1600, as the Western Army collapsed, Shimazu Yoshihiro commanded only 1,500 from Satsuma. Encircled, he refused surrender. He ordered the Shimazu no Sutegamari, a fighting retreat straight through enemy lines. Nephew Shimazu Toyohisa led the rearguard, dying in sacrifice. The breakout succeeded. Yoshihiro reached home, and though they had fought on the losing side, their display of courage impressed Tokugawa Ieyasu enough to let them keep their domain. Here, honor was not the opposite of survival. It was the only way to secure it. These 10 decisions show a brutal truth of the samurai age. Honor and pragmatism were often mortal enemies. From Nobunaga's misread at Honno-ji to the Shimazu's audacious breakout at Sekigahara, each story shows humans, flawed, proud, desperate, making fateful choices. Which call was most catastrophic? Nobunaga's trust in Mitsuhide that shattered his unification, or Katsuyori's charge at Nagashino that ended an era of cavalry glory? Tell me in the comments below. If this helped you see past the myths to the choices that really shaped Japan's history, hit like, subscribe to Japan Rewind, and ring the bell. Until next time. Remember, sometimes the greatest victories come from learning from the greatest defeats.